Good morning, friends. This is Venkatesan Sreenivasan, and I welcome you to the official YouTube channel of VS Strategic Business Consulting. Today, in this video, I would be talking about the organizational culture and its importance. Before that, if you have not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe by clicking the subscribe button, clicking the bell icon, like, share, and comment. If you have any questions, queries where you would need our answers, feel free to post it in the comment section and we would certainly answer each and every questions and queries. So let's continue with our session for today. As I said, today we would be discussing on organizational culture and its importance. So the agenda for the session is we would be discussing on what is an organization, what do we mean by culture, what do we mean by an organizational culture, how is it important for the overall business, and if so, why? How does an organizational culture help in enhancing employee happiness and employee sentiments? Does it have anything to do with new customer acquisition or retaining your existing customers? What is the correlation between employee happiness and customer experience? And last, how do we actually measure the organizational culture? To start with, what is an organization? The organization is basically a platform where a set of individuals with diverse belief system, with distinct thought process, come together and work towards earning a livelihood. It is a place where people work towards realizing their dreams while collaboratively working for a larger purpose, which is for the betterment or upliftment of mankind and society. A culture A culture is actually an umbrella term which encompasses social behavior norms of that is found within the human society. It is also about the knowledge, art, laws, customs, capabilities, sentiments, and habits of individuals in a specific group or within a specific society. Now, let's take if we talk about a nuclear family and a house of husband, wife, and probably two kids, the way they interact, the way they communicate, the way they actually lead life, it actually has some kind of beliefs and values that they follow with, some kind of principles that they adopt to. Now that aspect, when we typically look into, that is what is called as culture. Now when we typically look into the common principles, value systems, beliefs of set of people within a community, then it becomes the societal culture. So similarly, if we talk about an organizational culture, it is the principles, the values, the practices that are followed in an organization in achieving their overall purpose. So organizational culture is the underlying values, beliefs, and principles because they form the crux and they form the basic foundational aspect for an organizational management system. In addition, it also includes the practices and behaviors which can be noticed as a reinforcement of their basic principles. Let's consider a few examples. Virgin Airlines, the statement, em, our employees come first and we ensure we take care of the betterment of our employees, and in return our employees take care of our customers and their experience. Now this is a tremendous statement and it is a unique differentiator for Virgin Airline. Now, the values, the principles, the practices, everything encompasses in ensuring the employees working within Virgin Airlines feel a sense of pride and has a sense of elation and a sense of belongingness for their employees. Apple, there's concentration and their thrive for innovation and the purpose to build a innovative and a highly creative product which are which would become an extremely important aspect of everyone's life. For example, their iPhone and the kind of security measures that they provide, the kind of features that they provide, they become a part and parcel of our everyday life. Now, this becomes a differentiator for Apple. Tata Sons. Now, Tata Sons is a highly respected group headquartered in India but operating in, different geographies. It's a conglomerate, and it has spread its wing into almost every aspect of products and services, which has a direct or an indirect impact in the overall benefit of the society. Now, typically note the ethics, their code of conduct, their principles, and their values are highly respected and they are identified because of the values and their ethical nature of their business operations. Every business or every company under this umbrella works for a common purpose in the overall upliftment of the society, evolving into a different scale altogether. And also, one thing that we need to note about Tata Sons is close to 60% of the company's stakes are held by trusts. They are not held by the owners or the founders or the senior executives, but it is held by the trust. Now, this is something which is extremely, different and distinct when compared to various other business powerhouses across the globe. Now, what are the importance of organizational culture? Now, organization culture helps in giving a sense of direction for the people who are working within that organization. Now, just consider this point. If each and every individual is able to have an utmost clarity to the overall purpose and how his role is going to have an impact to the overall objective of the organization, and they have a sense of direction on how they will be able to add value and how they would be able to contribute to the overall purpose, then this aspect will be extremely critical and important for the success or the growth of a particular organization. Now, organization culture helps in giving that direction because each and every practice, each and every policies, SOPs, or the way we communicate, the way the interaction happens, everything will be aligned with the beliefs, values, and the principles. Those are considered and those are prominent which are going to be adopted by that organization, and that becomes the culture of the organization. Next, because of the sense of direction, the individuals, when they have that thought process and they are having a clarity on how their contribution are going to matter to the overall purpose, individuals in building an important emotional connect with the overall purpose. So the point of being competitive within individuals within the organization would be lessened, and the attributes and the quality of collaborating and engaging for the overall benefit and overall purpose would become a prominent factor. So this enhances the the emotional attachment within the minds of every individual. Third one is culture shapes the way individuals interact within an organization and how they communicate and interact with other stakeholders who are like their customers, visitors, partners, or their shareholders. We have to take an example. This can be actually very well experienced. Now, let's take a hospitality industry. probably a five-star hotel. Now, the way we are treated from the gate, security gate, till the restaurant point, while we pass through the aisle and while we enter the reception, the feeling that we get, the way people interact with us, they need not. It need not essentially be an oral communication. It could also be through body language. How they make you feel. If you're feeling welcomed, if you're feeling elated, and that forms the crux of the culture of that particular five-star hotel. So the culture defines the way people interact and communicate within the organization as well as with outside outsiders of the organization. Now it goes a long way. In fact, culture, yeah, it helps. It's pretty unique. Culture cannot be copied. That's a pretty reason why we, get to hear most often when from our peers or from our colleagues when they say, "Now this particular aspect worked in my previous organization, but I'm not able to, successfully implement it here. It's not working out here." The reason is it could be because of the culture difference. So culture is something which cannot be copied. They are unique in nature, and it helps in building the brand image of the organization. Eventually, over a period of time, the organization would be recognized because of its culture. Now, we took the example of Virgin Airlines, Apple, and Tata Sons. Specifically, if we talk about Tata Sons, the organization or that particular group itself is recognized for its organizational culture, the values, the belief systems that they practice. We can talk to anyone within the business fraternity or within the customer fraternity or among any individuals of across any society about Tata Sons. The first thing that they talk about is about their integrity and about their value system. Now that is what I'm talking about and build a brand image for an organization. Next, how does organization culture help in enhancing employee happiness? Before getting into this, the first thing I would like to explain is what would make an individual happy. Employees same like us, and he would have his own sense of objective. He would have his own set of goals, set of principles, set of value systems, set of beliefs, set of principles that he would follow. Now, what would make an individual happy? Now, is it such a complex thing that because individuals are different, every individual is unique in his principle, vision, his thought process, the way he interacts, the way he communicates. So, if each and every individual within an organization needs to be happy, organization to concentrate and enhance their employee happiness, they all that they will have to do is extend three basic fundamental attributes of features. One, clarity. If each and every individual within an organization, every team member, every human within the organization, he has a clarity of what is expected from him, what is the overall purpose, what is the overall vision, what are the values that the organization has set as principles to achieve the overall objective, and how he would be in a position to contribute to that overall purpose through the role that he is going to play. If and every individual has this clarity, he would feel happy. The reason is every individual then would know how his role is going to contribute to the overall purpose. So there would be a sense of satisfaction, a sense of elation for the individual because he would have a clear idea of what and how he is going to contribute to the overall purpose. Second is the capability aspect. How the organization is going to help and support an individual in building his capability and competency so that he is in a position to not just add value in the current situation, but he will also be equipped to meet the future requirements of the organization, and he would be a prominent you would actually be a part of a prominent role which would help in achieving the overall organizational purpose. So how the organization is going to support an individual in building his capability. So one, he'll have the clarity. Next, he will have, the individual would know the organization would support him and is supporting him in building his competency and in his overall development for being able to meet the overall objective, not just for the current, but for the future requirement. Third, if he is well compensated. Compensated, we are not talking about just the salaries or other things or the benefits, but we are specifically concentrating towards the rewards and recognition. If the contribution of an individual is recognized and rewarded, he would feel that sense of ownership. He would feel, the individual would feel the organization is valuing his contribution. That sense of satisfaction would help in building his motivational factors, attributes, so that he is elated and feels connected with the organization and feels as a part of the organization which is working towards that overall purpose. Now, as rightly said, going by the saying, people, they value two things more than money and sex in life, and that is the sense of satisfaction of whether their role is able to contribute to the overall purpose. Second, if they're feeling rewarded and recognized. So more than money, now recognition, rewards, and being able to add value to the overall purpose is something, two important and most critical factors and attributes which would build, enhance, and drive the the inspirational and motivational quotient of an individual, making him happy. Now, if any organization are trying to look at building their culture, they will have to keep these three things in mind: being able to extend that kind of required clarity, support to build the capability, and reward and recognize their contributors. Now, if you typically look into a research article by International Review of Management and Marketing on organizational culture and job satisfaction, they specifically detailed on three attributes for employee happiness. One is connectedness. Now, as we discussed, if an individual has a clarity, he would feel connected with the organization for the overall purpose, right? And if he's feeling connected, then the point of competitiveness would go, and this connection would build and motivate him to engage and collaborate more within a team and within all the departments and members of the organization. So it becomes a holistic ethos of the organization to work towards the overall purpose, and not just being getting into a transactional evaluatory mode of thinking and one-sided aspect. Second, a sense of progress. Having clarity and support in building their capability by the organization, the individual would know how he is going to progress within the organization, not just in the current aspects, scheme of things, uh, through his role, but how he would be in a better position to contribute to the overall purpose of the organization, keeping the future requirements. So the sense of progress would make him feel much excited and elated. So it would be an intrinsic motivating factor for every individual. Third one is a sense of control. Typically, we are talking about autonomy based approach. Now, here, what we basically the research talks about is every individual, when he has a clarity about his role and the purpose and how he is going to add value to the overall organizational scalability and growth, he would want to be empowered to be able to take decisions, to be able to work the way he would feel comfortable within the scheme of the principles and the values that the organization operates in, and deliver what is expected from him. That is what we're talking about, sense of control. If the individual has the clarity, has the capability, he's uh, to a very great extent connected to the overall purpose, and he also has a sense of progress, but he lacks that sense of control. He feels he is not empowered, or he does not have the freedom to express or work the way he would be comfortable working. It might not help him. If the employees are empowered, then the sense of togetherness, the sense of inclusiveness increases, and this would also help in building the empathetic approach towards other individuals who are contributing within the organization for the overall purpose. So it enhances the team working and team bonding spirit. These three aspects would help in ensuring the employee happiness is not just increasing, but it was also building, considering the future of the organization. The other major point is how organization culture helps in customer. Now, like the example that we took in case of Virgin Airlines, just imagine if you're working in your house, right? If you're working in your house, you will have to cook for your kids. Probably your spouse is coming, and you want to give away some kind of a surprise, cooking something which they like. Just imagine if you are not having that freedom, and if you are not happy, would you be in a better position to serve your guest for that day? Unless you feel elated, unless you feel motivated, unless you experience the sense of purpose, and you experience that what you do really matters a lot to the overall scheme of life, if you are not happy, and if you are not feeling that, say, zeal of experience, could you be in a better position to support your guests to whom you would actually be serving food, and you're working? You will not be able to do a justice to it. Similarly, in an organization, if the the employees working in that organization, they do not feel that ownership, if they do not feel that they are a part of the organization, and if they are not happy, directly it's going to impact the overall experience of your customers through how they're going to serve, because all your employees who are going to serve their customers and your customers, they will not be able to extend that alertness and that kind of thing, that experience which will be required as a base foundational requirement for any customers. Now, let's take iPhone for example, Apple for example. Like we mentioned in that example, right? Apple products are at a high cost product. They're expensive product, but still people stand in line, in queue, make advance booking, and then buy that product. So they do not buy what you produce, but they buy why you produce that, and what made you produce that, and how it is going to impact their overall life. Now, that if the employees working in Apple, if they don't feel elated, and they don't get connected to the overall scheme of their overall purpose of that innovation and creativity, and if you're not given that kind of a freedom or empowered to work, they will not be able to give that kind of an experience to their customers, right? Like this reminds me of the book, Start with the Why by Simon Sinek. It very beautifully explained. People, they don't buy products because you made a product. They buy w- because they are connected with the overall why or the purpose of your organization, and how it is going to impact their lives and their betterment. So certainly, the organizational culture builds the employee happiness as a direct correlation with employee happiness. If your employees are happy, then they would be able to serve your customers in a much better way, and your customers would experience that elation and that satisfaction from your products and your services. Now, let's consider the same example which we spoke about, feel of an organizational culture while we are entering a restaurant or the five-star restaurant. Just imagine the receptionist or the security, they have had wrong day or a very bad day, and they are not happy and they're not feeling that elation, do you think you would get that positive vibes or that positive thought process or that positive environmental feel or that aura, that positive aura that we talk about? Do you think you would get that aura or experience that while you're entering? Certainly not. But if the receptionist from the that is talking about from the security till the reception to everyone, if they have the clarity and if they know their sense of purpose and if they feel connected with the organizational overall purpose and they know they are empowered and they are happy, would you feel that aura while you're entering it? Just imagine, and I'm very sure that you would feel an exciting and an amazing experience while you're entering into an organization, into such kind of a restaurant, and you would want to visit that restaurant pretty regularly, and you would also refer that to your friends and other ones. So this way, the restaurant is going to win new customers, and you being an existing customer, you would continue to visit that. So the organization is retaining your current customer. Similarly, every organization consider their building and strengthening their organizational culture and ensure that as a major important critical aspect for their growth. It all happens only if you and the organization and the individual members, each and every team member within that organization feels happy and experiences an elation and a sense of purpose. Now, this is certain specific data. Now, those companies, 92% of them believe that strengthening a corporate culture would improve the value of their company, the value of their organization. And 78% say culture is the most important of the top five things that makes a company valuable. 48% say they would walk away from any kind of collaboration, a merger or acquisition if they are not able to see a sync their principles and culture. If they do not consider this, then that entire relationship would be a big failure. So typically, now if you typically look at the correlation between employee experience and customer experience, survey and a research done by TTEC, and that was actually it's more of a research paper presentation article. They have actually done a research on the retail organizations, specifically concentrating from North America, and they worked on two specific attributes. One on the employee experience, next on the satisfaction index. Now, in the experience aspect towards the customer, satisfaction index towards the employees' sentiments separately. And once they tried to analyze together, they found a positive linear correlation between these two. As and when the employee happiness or the engagement or sentiments seem to be high in an organization, the customer retention and the customer service and customer experience index was also increasing there. Now, typically, this is the chart which says as and when the employee engagement or the employee happiness or the employee feel connected with the overall organization, if that rating is moving up the ladder, then it is also ensuring the customer index and customer satisfaction index is also moving up. So it clearly establishes that the employee happiness within an organization has a direct correlation with your customer experience and your customer satisfaction. Now, the bottom line here is treat people in your organization better than you want them to treat your customers. Now, this is a quote by Phil Geldick, who is the CEO of Eagles Flight. He he gave this quote and he mentioned it might sound very simple, but actually it makes a huge difference in making or breaking your relationship with your customers. So now, how do we assess an organization culture? Today, we have many tools, many methodologies, and many models. But one model which encompasses every aspect of an organizational culture, be it from the principles, be it from the business operations, their values and their overall purpose, and how their relationships with their stakeholders, not just within the organization but outside the organization. Keeping all these things, if it typically, I would recommend the business needs scorecard as one of the best models for assessing your organizational culture. Now, now, this particular scorecard was actually built by Value Center. It's also called as Barrett's model. It's basically an extension of Kaplan and Norton's balanced scorecard approach, where they have considered adding two additional attributes to the overall scorecard factors. Those two new are the corporate culture and the society and community contribution. What is that the organization is striving towards adding value by through their contributions to the upliftment of the society or the community that they operate in or they have an impact on. Now that plus the corporate culture that they are they are practicing and they adopt, how it is, how healthy or how appropriate it is. Now these two aspects, when it gets added to the overall scheme of other aspects that was mentioned in the balance scorecard, it gives a comprehensive picture about the culture of your organization, how healthy or how diluted it is. Now, the element, there are six elements to it. The elements are into finance, where the stakeholder is investor. The elements which are an external stakeholder, it talks about the relationship, customer relationship versus your relationship with your other partners, your franchisee partners, your strategic partners, etc. And the fitness of the organization, it specifically talks about productivity and the efficiency of your operational strategy, how well it is articulated or it is practiced, and how well it is working towards improving and energizing the overall efficiency or the productivity. Now, right. Next is evolution, how the organization is evolving from one stage to the other stage, from one point to the other point, from one strategy to the other strategy, from and how they are supporting, evolving their employees within the organization from one base to the other base. Now that's where we spoke about the capability enhancement, how well they are able to help individuals in building their competencies, in building their capabilities, so that they are able to meet as well as deliver, considering the future requirements. What is the culture of the organization, how important individuals feel that they are and their contribution are within an organization in achieving their overall purpose. Next is societal contribution. So what is that they are in a position to contribute to the overall upliftment or betterment of the society. Now, these aspects are actually assessed through this model of a business needs scorecard, and I say it's one of the best models that I've come across in the recent years. I hope you have liked the video. Now, this is the end of this session. Any questions, any comments, please do pass it on in the comment box, and I would certainly answer to you. Thank you. Thanks a lot, friends.